In 2027, ladies and gentlemen, let us vote for competence. Let us vote for character, not a school forger, not a drug baron, not a corrupt person.
The FBI is only trying to protect the process and its methods, because when you think about it, even in that case, the man Bola Tinubu was not the subject of the investigation. There was an investigation into a white guy, Edward, and his associates, and it was in reviewing their financial records that they saw that Agbele had opened an account with Tinubu. So if they are going to release a file or files about President Tinubu, the FBI would have to be releasing their methods and materials, and they have ongoing investigations whereby they will have, agents currently deeply embedded in a lot of criminal organizations that by exposing these methods and materials might compromise the safety of those agents. The information that they have is different from the one that they are looking for. The one that they are looking for are the secret, all files on Tinubu, very generic, right? So that will include the materials and methods. But from the information publicly available, I can tell you my own inference that I have done. And I am not currently a supporter of president, and I have resigned my membership of APC. So I'm not saying this because I am a spokesperson for them. But here are the facts of the case. When they tell you that President Tinubu forfeited $420,000 in 1993, they don't tell you that the US government gave him back about $1.6 million. So I have never known in history a time where the federal government of the United States give part payment to criminals. There was a settlement whereby they had seized 2 million of his money, and then they gave him back 1.6, and they said he has not paid taxes amongst other things, right? That is the first thing. The second thing that is just common sense based on my own inference is that, Charles, if Hush Puppy was your friend and you know he's a fraudster, and the FBI is calling you to ask, do you know Hush Puppy? Are you in business with him? I am pretty sure, based on your foreknowledge of his fraudulent activities, you are going to deny knowing him as much as you can, right? When they called this man, he said he knew these guys and that he was in business with them. It was not until a few months later that he called back and did what you would have expected him to do in the first place, which was deny the knowledge of those people that I don't know them or I am not in business with.
Welcome back. So the case of Bola Ahmed Tinubu forfeiture of a certain amount of money to the United States government, and the part that many Nigerians are not aware of a certain amount also being released back to him. Now, many have argued that there is a kind of bribery that must have occurred. That's why the United States is not ready to release this document. According to the government, they said, I mean the FBI now, when I say government, I'm talking about the FBI. The FBI is saying that should they release this document without redacting it, without maybe keeping some of it private, if they unseal it, they said two things will happen. One, their operational system will be exposed, and they do not want that. They want to guard it with all that they have. They don't want the world to know how they operated many years back and how they still operate till today. They say it is classified and it must be sealed. That's their first argument. The second one is that should they do this unsealing, it will bring about the demise, the RIP, the death of certain people or persons. It will put them in harm's way. Now, we all know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu can never be the one that will be unalived. He is too well protected to be unalived just like that. Now, who are these people? Who are these persons? Are you saying this the way I'm saying it? Do you think it's the FBI that is afraid? Should this come to light, then officer or agent this and that will be unalived? No, I don't think so. This is what I think. This is what I think. So, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, regardless of what anybody wants to say, of course, it is obvious that Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot till today prove or show to the world the schools that he attended, aside the one in the United States. He cannot tell you the secondary school that he attended, who are his classmates, yearbook, pictures. He can't give you any of that. And not even his classmates. None of them dare come to the press and say, hey, I'm Bola Ahmed Tinubu's classmate. This is what happened. Nobody is saying anything aside maybe one or two people jumping out of the blues that you cannot verify. And even the school that Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented to have gone to or attended, when calculations were made, people got to realize that there's either something wrong with the age of Bola Ahmed Tinubu that could not make him align with the schools that he claimed he went to. Now, that's it about Bola Ahmed Tinubu educational brouhaha. Let us look at this allegation that has ever since been a shadow trailing him whenever elections are about to. Atiku articulated, or whoever, Obi, whoever comes up with this. The FBI has decided to put to rest this once and for all. According to them, they will not, as at today, I don't know of tomorrow, but then that's basically what it's going to be. They say they will not declassify, unseal anything about Bola Ahmed Tinubu as per details. Now, many are saying, why don't you guys redact it and let's see some? They said, no, we will not. It will jeopardize our operational system and also jeopardize the life of those involved. Here is my take. Bola Ahmed Tinubu had said in part of his resume that he had worked with Deloitte accounting firm. Now, this is the practice generally when you open a private business or even a big, huge business, whichever, whatever, you get the service of an accountant, and the job of that accountant is to do your bookkeeping. Anyway, let's assume that Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows about this illicit business, maybe drug-related, substance trading, and all of that. Let's assume that he knows about it. You cannot jail him for knowledge that he has not, in sincerity, told you that he's aware of. For example, one might be aware of a crime, but when interviewed or interrogated, the person said, no, I do not know about this. And there is no way you want to indict or jail this person for knowledge of something they have kept secret. It is not possible. You must investigate, and you must, without doubt, prosecute. That's it. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let's say he's an accountant. He does auditing because that's what the Deloitte and some other, in quote, part of his CV, that's what he does. So he does auditing. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu acts in capacity as accountant to these fellows. And these fellows are into this business. And the law caught up with these guys. And eventually, these guys confessed. And the FBI was able to track and trace. And when they did the tracking and tracing, they realized that they have an accountant who does the bookkeeping and all of that. And the FBI investigates, questions, and query the accountant. The accountant says, I'm just an accountant. Do you know the source of this? No, I don't. What are the papers, documents presented to you to manage this money inflow and outflow? Oh, these are the documents. They own shopping malls. They own this. They are into import and export. They sell cars. So this is what I do. Okay. And how much in total? Oh, it's about, for example, 200 million. All right. So how much is it that you guys agreed on? I agreed with my client to pay me 20% or 10% for me to do the work. Okay. And they did check and they realized that Bola Ahmed Tinubu had 20 or 30%. And they said, okay, man, you need to pay tax. Is that the money Bola Ahmed Tinubu forfeited? According to this gentleman, a certain amount of money was paid back to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now the FBI has refused to declassify this document. What is anybody going to do about it? Some are like, oh, they have bribed them. And in the United States, they don't call it bribe, they call it lobbying, where you pay a certain amount of money, donate and make it look legit. I'm going to donate into this charity. And then I'm going to be seeking for favors or seek for this favor. Of course, you have paid something for something. That's it. So rather than calling it outright bribery, they call it lobbying. Did Bola Ahmed Tinubu lobby for this to remain? Recall that he had asked through his lawyers for 10 days to respond to this declassifying of documents, private documents. So who is protecting who? Is it Bola Ahmed Tinubu protecting his friends? Was it the Don or were they the Don? Whichever, whatever, we will never know. And even if those documents are unsealed, you still might not get the answer, because if Bola Ahmed Tinubu had committed crime, you think he'll be walking the streets of Lagos, Nigeria? No, he would not even have been able to come back to Nigeria to be governor or anything. They were unable to find him wanting. But that does not mean that he's not into it. But the thing is that they did their investigation as at today. They could not find Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanting, to a point where they will indict him and then eventually jail him. No, not at all. But some of his friends, or people that I will call clients, many of them were arrested, even though it is not a public knowledge. So, it is what it is. I don't know what your thoughts are. Drop a comment.